Well, the Turkish Super League has finally suspended play. Meanwhile, MLS has extended suspension of the season to May the 10th. Now, Taylor Twellman will be joining us a little later on to give us all the latest on that. And of course, the Premier League met today and they are committed to playing all games this season. English football has now extended postponement up until April the 30th. And they will extend that season now indefinitely. Gab and Jules with us first to discuss this. Jules, no real surprise really from today's events.
No, not at all. You're right, Dan. And we expected the Premier League in their meeting today, video call conference, not personal meeting, obviously, but we expected them to come to this decision to postpone the interruption, if you want, of the league. There were hopes at some point that maybe it could start during the month of April. Now it's pretty clear, seeing how the pandemic is going, that there will be no football possible anywhere, or no sports, nothing possible between at least now and the end of April. So we're now looking at May, start of May, maybe mid-May as well, if we're lucky. So another long interruption, but it was good for the Premier League to meet this morning, and also to state that whatever happens, this season, the current one, the 19-20 season, will go to the end, even if that means delaying the start of the next season, 2021, for a further weeks or month.
Of course, Gab, that is now put to bed, basically. Any chance of the suggestions that the season will be void and the trophies being handed out now? What complications is this going to have, though, in the long run?
Well, first of all, I disagree with their decision. I think making a commitment to finish this come what may is very dangerous. I think it might be appropriate for some leagues. We know lower league clubs in England, of course, are very dependent on gate revenues. I think it becomes harder to swallow if making this commitment means that you're still playing in August, September, October, and maybe even still playing in a situation where all the issues are resolved. If with 3 games to go or 4 games to go, you have your champion, you have your Champions League teams, you have your Europa League teams, and you have your relegated teams, why do you have to keep going? I know it's about the TV money, but surely there's a way to go and figure this out a little bit better. This is going to have a number of serious complications, obviously, because if they go past June 30th, which obviously, and let's be fair, they're hoping not to have to do that. But if they do go past June 30th, player contracts, a whole bunch of them will have expired. They're going to talk to FIFA. FIFA have already have said that that they're available to relax or review the contractual rules on the players. But you're opening a real hornet's nest. What about those players who, maybe right now are going to become free agents in the summer and already have deals in place with other teams? Do they just get to leave? What if the rest of Europe manages to wrap everything up by June 30th? What impact does that then have on the transfer window, which presumably would stay the same? So, look, we're all in the hands of the pandemic, but it seems to me that by making this outward commitment, you've kind of tied your hands a little bit, and you don't know what's lying ahead of you. I don't see the need to come out and say this. You could have used different language, and I don't know. To me, this seems fairly pig-headed.
Jules?
Yeah, I agree with Gab in the way that you've put yourself, the Premier League, under a lot of pressure, obviously, by saying, whatever cost, whatever happens with the pandemic and the situation and everything, we will finish this season. And like Gab said, even if there are 3 more match days to be played with nothing at stake at all, because everything is already sorted, they've still today assured that those games will go on and the season will continue until the last game and the last minute of the last game of the last day of the season, which, again, I don't think they had to. They could have just said, listen, we will review everything on the 1st of May because we know that for sure between now and then we won't be able to play any football, and then make another decision. I don't think they had the need to guarantee for sure 100% that they will end the season completely.
And Dan, there's another element to this, and I know for a fact at least 2 Premier League clubs were strongly opposed to this statement, but obviously there's a majority of Football League clubs who have an interest in doing this. And they made the point, I think rightly, what happens if the Champions League starts up again. In other words, June 30th is when UEFA, again, pandemic willing, say that they're going to end the European season and start the new season. Well, what happens then? Are we going to be in a situation where the Premier League's going to be under pressure then to all of a sudden wrap everything up, or at least have the Champions League places
But surely, if we're calling the Premier League pig-headed, we've got to call UEFA pig-headed as well, haven't we? In a sense, if they said, right, everything's got to be done by June the 30th, we're UEFA, you're going to listen to us, and we want everything done by them because we're going to start the Champions League. That's ridiculous. Surely it's a case of no matter what organisation, they've got to come together and not put these strict deadlines in place and keep the matter as fluid as possible, Gab.
Well, actually, UEFA haven't put a strict deadline in place. They hope to be able to finish it by June 30th, but they're allowing leagues to do whatever they want. All they're saying is that you guys go and play until 2027 for all that we care. But if you want to play next season's Champions League, 2 weeks before the start of the season, the start of the 2021 season and the qualifiers and whatnot, you're going to have to submit your teams. So
but why can't they delay that? I don't get why can't UEFA just delay that? Why does it all have to be up to them?
Well, delay because it's their competition. They're not forcing anybody.
It's the Premier League's competition as well, isn't it? It seems ridiculous that you've got these. Everybody wants this to work. Everybody wants to be able to get back to playing football as soon as possible, but in a responsible way. And it seems strange to be putting these deadlines and these dates around when it's not necessary at all, is it? So what if the Champions League starts in October?
No, they're
it's not the end of the world.
Listen, Dan, they're not deadlines. What they are is this. UEFA have said, we're going to curtail the Champions League so that we can start a new Champions League next year. There are 55 member nations in UEFA. The vast majority of them have said, yes, that's a good idea. Curtail the Champions League if you have to, but get everything wrapped up so that next season can proceed without incident. The Premier League have decided, no, we're going to keep playing, and if it means delaying next season, so be it. And UEFA is saying, hey, that's fine. You guys do what you want. It's your league, it's your competition. But if you want to play in the Champions League, the majority of UEFA stakeholders have said, if you want to play in the Champions League, you have to submit the names by this date. I think it's as simple as that. It's not. They're not saying you have to. You can't do this. They're simply telling the Premier League you have to submit it by this date. And I think that potentially creates a problem because it could create a problem where possibly some places are still up for grabs, and then the Premier League's gonna have to figure out, who they're gonna go and enroll in the Champions League. It could create another problem where all of a sudden the Premier League clubs would go, oh wait, there's a head-to-head battle between Manchester United and Spurs for that final Champions League spot. Let's go and cram a whole bunch of fixtures in here and go back to playing 3 times a week and whatever else, which wouldn't be great either. So I think this is the real issue. There was no need whatsoever to go and make that commitment now. Obviously, you want to complete all the fixtures. That's your goal. But if the situation changes, the situation changes. What if the pandemic goes on for another 2 years? What are you going to do? Finish this season in 2023?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.